Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. It's Allan Laboucan with the Rocks and Stocks News Show. I got my In the News show for Monday, September the 29th, and got some really good companies to talk about. The first one I'm going to talk about is Sokoman Minerals, who announced new leadership appointments. They announced that they oh, I got to get the right news release here. Sorry. Where is it? There it is. So they announced that Denis Laviolette has been appointed as director, executive chairman, and CEO. Denis Laviolette is a very talented geologist. I've had the pleasure to interview him a couple times, most recently from his position as non-executive chairman of Kirkland Lake Discoveries. If you didn't have a chance to watch that video, you should, because it really shows you the talent that Denis Laviolette has for geology. Really talented guy, but not just a geologist. He also has capital markets experience and really a good understanding of the digital marketing landscape. His company that he's a part of, Earth Labs, has a group of assets that include CEO.ca, which is a forum where investors, one of the largest forums where in the world for investors that are interested in mining stocks. They also own the Northern Miner, the Canadian Mining Journal, and mining.com. He was also involved with artificial intelligence, Gold Spot. He was formerly, I think he was the founder, yes, the founder, and they sold that to ALS. So he's a multi-talented guy, and I'm quite surprised that Sokoman Minerals was able to bring him on, not because of the quality of the project by any stretch of the imagination, but Denis Laviolette has an opportunity to, take this position in multiple companies, and yet he chose Sokoman. I'm really happy he did because I'm a big fan of Sokoman's Moosehead project. And now Denis Laviolette, who understands these orogenic gold systems very well, will be able to take the reins and really push the project forward to go after the depth potential of the Moosehead project. So I was happy to hear that. And Tim Froud, who's a friend of the show, he'll be transitioning to the president. Uh, and that's a great position for Tim. He's a really talented geologist. He lives not far from the project, so he'll be able to sort of focus on what he really loves to do, which is it's all about the rocks for Tim. So he's going to be taking the president's position. Uh, Gary Nassif is joining. He's appointed as a director, 30-year professional geologist. You can read about him. Greg Matheson is filling a vacancy left by the departure of Dan Lee. He's been appointed VP Exploration. So they're really amping up the team here. And it's just before the company starts a deep drilling program at the Moosehead project. And Denis Laviolette, he's stated, and I quote, "We're excited to welcome Gary Nassif and Greg Matheson to their new roles, and I'm honored to assume the role of executive chairman and CEO. On behalf of the company, I thank Colin Bowditch and Tim Froud for their service as directors and acknowledge Tim's continued leadership as president. Together, this strengthened leadership team brings a wealth of expertise in exploration, governance, and investor relations, positioning Sokoman for sustained growth and success as we advance our exploration initiatives." Tim Froud stated, and I commented, and I quote, I couldn't be more thrilled with the evolution of Sokoman's management team and board. Our shareholders know that my true passion lies in the field, making discoveries and advancing them into real value. And these changes position us perfectly to deliver on that vision. End quote. Greg Matheson, he stated, and I quote, I am incredibly excited about the opportunities that lie before Sokoman. Tim and the team have made some exceptional high grade discoveries at the Moosehead project during the past few years, and I look forward to accelerating that progress. Newfoundland and Labrador is one of the best jurisdictions in the world for gold exploration, and I'm delighted to once again be exploring in the province. In addition to this news, while I was getting ready for the show, I looked at the insider trades, and Denny Laviolette, he got options upon joining, and he immediately exercised those options. So it puts $600,000 into the treasury, which will help with the costs of drilling, and it gives him a very large position in the stock of the company. So in one fell swoop, he put money in the company and aligned himself with the shareholders. I'm really happy to hear that because I just, by sheer luck, I did an interview with Tim Froud last week, and I decided, oh, I got to buy some stock, so I did. And then when I saw this news, I doubled up my position, and I'm very likely to double it up again tomorrow morning because I am very impressed with this change in management and what it could mean to the. I mean, I've been a big fan of the Moosehead project for a long time because I love high grade gold, and they found a lot of high grade gold, but fairly shallow, like let's say within the first 250 meters from the surface. And these orogenic gold deposits, they have very deep roots. And as you follow them deeper, that's where the grades start picking up. A perfect example of that is the Red Lake mine that made Goldcorp into the famous Goldcorp. It was a small, sort of struggling mine for about 20 years when they were mining, let's say, the first few hundred meters from the surface. Then they got deeper into the system. They hit the bonanza, the gold portion of the orogenic gold system, and the rest was history. And so I know how important it is to chase the depth potential of these orogenic gold systems. I think that's exactly what Denny and his team will do because Denny understands these orogenic gold systems very well. He was one of the founders of Newfound Gold, which is going to be a new mining company in the not too distant future. So, Newfoundland is a really exciting place for exploration. It's really mining friendly. One of my picks is Equinox, and they just started pouring gold at their Valentine gold mine, and that's in Newfoundland as well. The Newfoundland government wants to see new mines being built. So I'm hopeful that Sokoman can fit into that schedule somewhere down the road. But first things first, they need to get deeper. And I'm really pumped about this upcoming drill program, which is about to start within the next couple weeks or so. All right, let's have a quick look at their stock, SIC. The market really responded favorably to this news. It was up 90% or 5 cents a share to 11 cents on huge volume. I think it traded something like 14 million, 17 million shares, I think, today. So it's really cleaned out the market, the cheap stock that was available, and I think it's got a lot of blue sky in it ahead of it. Look at this formation of the 50-day moving average. It looks like it's going to go straight parabolic into a golden cross within the next week, 10 days or so. And when I see the trajectory of the 50-day like that, I get really excited because that usually means onwards and upwards. And so that is the Sokoman news. Next up, another company that had blockbuster news was Sterling Metals announces high-grade discovery at the Sioux Copper Project, intersecting 262.5 meters of 1.05% copper equivalent, including 68.3 meters of 3.25% copper equivalent and 9.3 meters of 19.8% copper equivalent from surface. This is just spectacular results. These are kind of things you see down in South America, and they've got it in Ontario, near Batchewana Bay, Ontario. And this is part of their phase two drilling program, and it's got high grade gold and silver, sorry, high grade copper and gold within a continuous bulk tonnage copper, molybdenum, silver, gold porphyry system. They on the highlights, they give you the highlights of that hole that's in the headline. They hit the highest copper and gold grades encountered to date at the Sioux Copper Project. 33% over a half a meter, starting at 220 meters depth, and 196 grams of gold and 21.3% copper over zero point 0.6 meters, starting at 219.85 meters of depth. Newly discovered high grade copper gold mineralization characterized by bornite and associated porphyry dikes indicates a robust, large scale copper, gold, silver, molybdenum system with the potential to transform the project. I think potential is a bit of an understatement. That these results definitely transform the project. Phase two drilling has been expanded from a minimum of 3,000 meters to at least 6,000 meters. They got core photo gallery on the website. They'll be hosting a live webinar on Wednesday, October the 1st at 11 a.m. Eastern. So you can click and get registered for that on this news release. Uh, they talk about the significance of the target that they drilled. Um, here's Jeremy Nemi, who's the senior vice president of exploration and evaluation. He commented, and I quote, by integrating surface geology, resistivity data, and the insights of our phase one drilling, we refined our targeting model and we're able to adjust in real time. MEPS 2502 immediately delivered bornite from near surface and went on to produce the highest copper and gold grades drilled to date. This validates our geological approach and confirms the GFP porphyry as a key driver of mineralization at the Sioux Copper. End quote. So he says a couple of really important things there, folks. Bornite is a sulfide that is associated with some of the highest grades of copper you can find. And that's why they highlighted the bornite. But the key driver of mineralization at Sioux Copper is very interesting as well. I used to cover the company that had this project before Sterling, and I did a lot of homework on it. It's got past producing mines on the project. It's got breccia units on the project. It's got some porphyries on the project, but it was a big project that had never really been, try to figure out the guts of the system. And that's what they're talking about, the key driver of mineralization. So I think they're getting a handle. And, to get a handle on what's going on as far as the system goes is really important because there's lots of indication that there could be something special there. And boy, did they ever deliver some special results. Dr. Neil O'Brien, who's the technical advisor, he added, and I quote, This discovery clearly indicates the potential for a giant magmatic hydrothermal porphyry copper, gold, molybdenum deposit within the Bechuana Peninsula. The high copper gold grades due to bornite, coupled with strongly developed potassic alteration and extensive porphyry dikes, all point to a robust and focused mineralizing event that we have just begun to tap. So again, he kind of end quote. He kind of reiterates what I said earlier about getting tapping into the guts of this system, and they sure did. Matt Wilson, who's the CEO and director, concluded, and I quote, the decision to drill MEPS 2502 was not part of the original plan, but the team recognized the opportunity and had the conviction to act on it. That ability to combine rigorous science with decisive execution is exactly what positions Sterling to continue unlocking discoveries of this caliber, end quote. And there you can see some beautiful sulfides. This one is that's the figure that shows bornite, chalcopyrite, and gold mineralization at MEPS 2502 at 219.85 meters, which graded 23% copper, 196 grams of gold, and 168 grams of silver. This second one is a bornite chalcopyrite mineralization at 220 meters of depth in the same hole, grading 33% copper, 0.342 grams of gold, and 220 grams of silver over a half a meter. Here you can see the bornite and the chalcopyrite. That's the brassy colored and the purple colored stuff. And nice juicy looking core there. Oh my gosh, look at all the sulfides in this one. Massive chalcopyrite mineralization at 181 meters of depth in the same hole, grading 13.3% copper, 1 gram of gold, and 22.9 grams per ton of silver over zero point 0.4 of a meter. This one shows you the porphyry unit, chalcopyrite and bornite copper mineralization in GFP porphyry unit in MEPS 2502 at 216 grams depth, grading 0.47% copper, 0.054 grams per ton of gold, and 7.1 grams per ton of silver. So this is your porphyry unit with the veinlets coming through that. That's exactly what you want to see. And inside those veinlets is chalcopyrite and bornite. You can see the chalcopyrite there. It kind of looks like gold a bit. And the darker stuff is the bornite. Then they give you the table of results. They give you this is the LiDAR survey that looks very interesting as well. Looks like there could be a structure coming up in here and some kind of uplifted block of rock in here. Some structures look like they're coming through on an east to west and north to south. So some very interesting stuff there. Here's the geophysics, and they drilled through this. Here's the 206 in pink there is the 265 meters of 1.05% copper. Down the hole, they got that big intersection of 68.3 meters of 3.25% copper. That's in I guess that's dark pink. And then in purple is the Bornite zone, 9.2 meters at 19.8% copper. And this still remains open. So this is the target, the geophysical anomaly that they're drilling, and with resistivity, and it's a resistivity low, and it still keeps on going. So who knows? This stuff, what's remaining in this hole remains to be assayed. So pay attention to that coming up. And then they give you some more details. So let's take a look at the stock. Oh my gosh, did it ever pop on this news? Sterling Metals, there we go. Look at that. Up 212% on huge volume. It's up $1.93 to $2.84. It's just recently gone through the Golden Cross. And look at that 50-day moving average. It's going parabolic, folks. Just a spectacular hole and a spectacular movement in the price of the shares. This is why we invest in junior mining companies because they can make, and what's interesting is I've worked with majors before. And a lot of times, what the majors will do, they're not very good at exploration because they kind of go with the plan. Okay, we're going to drill 5 holes. Each one of them is going to be 300 meters. They're going to be this direction, and they're kind of trying to kill it. They want to know if it's going to be a monster right out of the gate within 5 holes, and they kind of go with their plan. They stick to their plan, and that's all that they do. Whereas juniors who find most of the important discoveries, they can be much more nimble. And that's what Matt Wilson was talking about in his quote, how they saw the potential and decided, okay, this isn't part of our plan, but we're going to change our plan. And that's the way that discoveries are made. And that's what you need to be able to do to make big discoveries. And it looks like they got something really special here. That's a monster hole with a huge intersection of very high grade copper and gold. And I think they're just getting started. So do your homework on sterling metals. And I'm really impressed with what I see there. All right, next up is Borealis Mining. They announced their first gold pour. They are a new junior gold miner in Nevada, and they starting their production with they had a stockpile of material that they crushed and they're putting on the leach pads, and now they're starting to recover gold and silver from that. They did two doré bars, which are about 956 troy ounces of doré, and that is about 50% gold and 50% silver. But they have to do some pinprick assaying to get the actual numbers. So they'll do that. They'll have more news on this. It's being sent to the Asahi Refining in Salt Lake City, Utah for refining and eventual sales. They need to do their assaying results on the Doré bars to find out the content of how much precisely is gold or how much precisely is silver. They talked about heap leaching and crushing of the stockpile of oxide material continues, with approximately 106,000 tons being treated with cyanide solution and another 34,000 tons to be crushed and not yet subjected to heap leaching. Gold and silver are actively being collected in Borealis carbon columns, and the company anticipates its next pour in the next several weeks. Andreas Steckenborn, who's the COO of Borealis, stated, and I quote, "This is a genuine milestone for our team, the company, and its shareholders. This pour represents the first genuine gold and silver production from fresh oxide material that Borealis has crushed, trucked to the leach pad, and treated with cyanide. We've spent an immense amount of time and effort over the past 2 years optimizing our operations and training, and the result was a perfectly executed pour. Our carbon columns are well loaded with gold and silver for the next pour, which should occur in the next few weeks. Borealis stakeholders can look forward to steady revenue for the next several months, which we intend to grow upon with the upcoming restart of the Borealis mine. We will update the market on timing of the restart of mining in our near term. end quote. So what they're doing is right now they're producing gold and silver from the stockpile and putting that onto the leach pad. And then they've also got permitted open pits that they're going to start bringing material to be processed as well. So this is just the very early days of a new junior gold miner in Nevada. And here you can see Andreas Steckenborn and Kelly Malcolm with huge smiles on their face as they hold the gold, the doré bars with the gold and silver in it. They have a accompanying video of the first pour. And so really exciting news. There's not a lot of new gold mining companies coming online while we've got the highest gold price ever. That is their timing really couldn't be better. As they're pouring this first pour, they got the best gold price ever to sell it into, and they've got a lot more ability to keep growing their production through their current permitted pits, and they have their own ADR facility, so they can create doré bars right on the property. Very exciting development for Borealis Mining. Let's have a look at their stock. Borealis Mining, there we go. It was down 5 cents today, which kind of surprises me because this is a really important development for the company. But the stock has been improving quite significantly since it went through its golden cross right here in late July. And uh, yeah, it's performing very nicely. I got to do my disclosure. I'm a shareholder of the company, and they are a sponsor of my report. So I'm really this gets me really juiced up because I've been with help following this company since before they went public around a year ago. And this was the vision for the company was to get that stockpile onto the leach pads and start producing from it, and then get back into the permitted pits and start bringing more material. So it's a ramp up towards being a junior gold miner. And congratulations to the whole team. Really great news for Borealis. Okay, next up is Wolfden. Wolfden provides drilling program update at its Rockland Gold Project in the Walker Lane Trend of Nevada. This is the where a lot of excitement is happening because Anglo has a fantastic deposit on the Walker Lane Trend. And the Walker Lane Trend is not as well known as the other trends in Nevada. It's less explored, but it has tremendous potential. And so there's a lot. Actually, the company I just talked about, they have their project is in the Walker Lane Trend as well. And actually, Wolfden's project is not very far from the Borealis mine. And you know, the old saying in mining is the best place to look for a new mine is close to an old mine and or an emerging mine, I guess you could say. And so that's what Wolfden is doing on their Rockland Gold project in the Walker Lane Trend of Nevada. They talk about the program designed to test below historical and significant drill results that ended in mineralization, including 146 meters of a gram of gold equivalent. This is from a historical hole. The first hole, REP 18, was colored near hole PG 32 with a steeper inclination and was designed to test the extent and potential continuation of the wide mineralized zone past the end of hole PG 32. And they confirmed that visually that REP 18 intersected 242 meters of the same intensely clay altered flow banded rhyolite unit with similar levels of alteration and fine-grained sulfide content that was intersected in the REP 18 is approximately 40 meters below. So they're de-technical of this to make this less technical. They're looking for this kind of material, the alteration, the kind of rocks it's in, and that's exactly what they wanted to see, and they're talking about seeing it. The bottom 30 meters of the mineralized rhyolite in hole REP 18 includes an increase in deformation and the amount of dark hairline fractures that may also are significant increase in quartz veining or silica flooding as potentially envisioned. All really good stuff. And Don Dudek, who's their senior exploration advisor, he stated, and I quote, "We are very pleased to see the extent of altered and mineralized rhyolite zone and look forward to seeing the assay results, which have been prioritized at the lab and will be released in the coming weeks once received and reviewed. The addition of the second rig will also allow us to speed up the program and add additional holes as warranted." So they're liking what they're seeing and they're bringing a second drill rig on. When I read this news, I took a small position, a starter position in the stock, and I'm very optimistic. I know that they're in the right kind of area. I know that they're in the right kind of rock from what they're talking about. And this the system is very exciting. I've seen some high grade in this system, and it could be a oxide type system, or below that, you could be running into the low to middle sulfidation type epithermal system, and below that you could have a porphyry that it's all coming off of. So it's a really interesting project, and that's the news from Wolfden. I can't go to their stock because for some reason stock charts doesn't include their stock. So sometimes they do that. So unfortunately, I can't go to the stock, but it's down at the bottom of its trading range and a good one for you to look at. All right. Golden Cross confirms orogenic gold mineralization from initial assay results at Reedy Creek. High grade gold confirmed, intercepts up to a half a meter at 24.4 grams per ton of gold, and broader intervals such as 23 meters at 3.01 grams per ton of gold. So, folks, in these orogenic gold systems, they do what's called pinching and swelling. So they can get wider, narrower, and they can do this along strike and at depth. So what you're really looking for are dilation zones, okay, where rocks open up. And when you hit 23 meters at 3 grams, that's suggestive of a dilation zone that also has very high grade coming into it as well. As they say, 24.4 grams per ton of gold. Another highlight was evidence of a ladder style veins and pathfinder halos, via geological features, laminated quartz veins, arsenic halos, and visible gold are consistent with those seen in Victoria's world-class gold systems such as Fosterville and Costerfield. Fosterville is one of the greatest gold mines in the world, high grade, orogenic gold, and this is the kind of stuff that you see at Fosterville. So their very earliest days, this is the first hole from their recent drilling. And so they're starting to get a handle on this, and that's what you have to do. They de-risk their exploration model. Structural and geochemical data provides a roadmap for Golden Cross to target the richest zones, reducing drilling risk and cost while increasing discovery efficiency. So when you get the drill holes are kind of like a window into what's happening at depth. And so you can see what's happening at depth more efficiently. And when you can see what's happening at depth, you can start to target it more predictably. And so, is that even a word? predictability. I guess it is, and so that's what they're talking about there. They talk about upcoming catalyst, phase two drilling, 10,000 meters, fully funded with two rigs turning is underway, with assays pending from phase one expected to drive steady news flow. So this is just one in a series of assay results that will be coming for the foreseeable future. They're able to drill year round in this part of Australia. So, yeah, expect a lot of results. Assays pending. Assays from 1,900 meters of drilling from seven holes as part of the initial 2,000 meter phase one drill program are pending. So they only released the results from 100 meters of drilling of the 2,000 meter drilling program. So they got a lot more results to come out. 10 meters at 2 grams, half a meter at 24 grams, 23 meters at 3 grams from 22 meters, so right at the surface. Visibly, the core shows a strong correlation with the dominant regional gold mineralizing trends as seen at Fosterville and Costerfield. That is, the gold bearing quartz veins are found in folded marine sedimentary rocks, a classic host for Victorian style gold. The strong arsenic anomalism gold pathfinder suggests we're in the upper part of the gold system. Another thing you want to hear there, folks. Other similarities to Fosterville style mineralization include the presence of laminated quartz marker veins, which have been observed near mineralization in drill holes to date at Shepherd's Hill, Thompson's Ridge, and Prince of Wales. These are three different target areas where they're seeing the same stuff that they want to be seeing. At Prince of Wales, visible gold was seen in the core within low-grade halo at 40.5 meters of depth within drill hole PD004. At Shepherd's Hill, visible gold was observed from samples of mullock located within 10 meters of the drill collars of SHD001 to 003. Trace amounts of stibnite and an ore of antimony were observed within a quartz vein encountered with SHD002 at a depth of 231 meters. Final assays from this hole are pending. Now, this is important because there is a discovery of another of my picks called um, Southern Cross, who's about 10,000 meters from these holes. And antimony plays an important role in that discovery as well. And antimony is becoming very interesting because of all the tariffs and nearshoring, where companies want to, or countries want to stop relying so much on things like antimony from China. And so now antimony, which, hasn't been talked about much in my 32-year career in the mining business, all of a sudden it's playing an important role in discoveries. Matthew Roma, who's the CEO, he commented, and I quote, the geological interpretation identified to date are very encouraging, suggesting a strong possibility that this area could host a significant Victorian style gold deposit at greater depths. With a fully funded phase two 10,000-meter drill program, our primary objective is to vector into the source of the gold system. End quote. And here they show some of the stibnite or antimony observed in the core and drill core. So around here is the quartz, and right in here is the antimony. Here's some visible gold, and it's not fine grained visible gold. That's a nice chunk of visible gold to see in that quartz. Nice looking stuff there. Here they show you similarities between Golden Cross, AUX core, and Fosterville drill core. Here is the Fosterville core, and you can see the quartz in it. Here's the core from this is next door to them, so they know what they're looking for, and that's what you want to see. And they give you the source of that and everything like that. Here is their claim blocks. Sunday Creek is right down in here. Sunday Creek is right about where my pointer is. And then right next door is where, and Sunday Creek has like a $1.7 billion valuation. And I still think there's a lot of room for that to grow even more. And these guys have, look at all the ground that they have right beside uh, um, the Sunday Creek discovery. And up here is Fosterville, Costerfield. And you can see what they're showing here are all of these anticline fold trends. Basically, what they are is the rocks, they fold, and where they fold, understanding the folds, the anticlines and synclines is really important to understand where to target the high grade gold. And as you can see, this is indicative of what happened at Costerfield and Fosterville, and it comes right down through here. And I would say that this is really interesting amount of folding in these on um, Golden Cross's ground. And there's cross-cutting features here, really interesting stuff. And, look at these cross-cutting features, and that's precisely where Sunday Creek is found. They have a lot of this going on through their property, so really good stuff. Allan Tills, the VP of Exploration, he commented, and I quote, these first pass drill holes have intersected significant gold mineralization, arsenic pathfinder signatures, and lower tenor gold halos around the quartz reefs, validating the structural targeting approach the company has adopted that has successfully delivered high quality structural information, materially improving the three-dimensional targeting model used at Reedy Creek. Drilling has highlighted clear dilation zones for prioritized follow-up drilling, with the company looking forward to integrating the remaining assay results and advancing targeted drilling on the most prospective structural corridors. So there again, they're talking about structures. That's crucial in these kind of deposits. And they're talking about dilation zones where the rocks open up. They go through these pinching and swelling, and it's focusing where those dilations are, where the rocks open up, and that's where the juices or the fluids that contain the gold can then pool up and make some substantial deposits. And this is all within the model of Fosterville and Clusterfield. So, and Sunday Creek for that matter. And so now they got a big, huge land package. They're loaded up with cash. They got two diamond drill working. They're going to have a lot of news. They know exactly what they're looking for. And this is what they're looking for, gold. Some of that nice visible gold, folks. So, as always, do your homework on Golden Cross. Let me pull up their stock. AUX is their stock symbol. And they came down to the 50-day moving average of late, and I think that's a great opportunity. Surprisingly, the stock was down 2.9% today, or 2 cents a share, to 67 cents. And I think that this is just a brand new discovery that's in its earliest days, and they got a lot of exciting news ahead of them. And so take a look at Golden Cross. Okay, last couple news releases are from the big boys. The Barrick had news out today, and it kind of surprised a lot of people because it's a management shakeup. Their CEO has left the company abruptly. had stated in recent interviews that he had planned on staying until I think it was 2028, and he resigned all of a sudden, and there was really no secession plan, not a proper secession plan put forth. And so it surprised a lot of people in the mining space that Mark Bristow abruptly left the company. And so they've got an interim person in there and they're doing a search for his replacement. And this again is, indicative of not something that was planned well ahead. Let's just put it that way. Some people will have a less complimentary way of saying what's happened. But basically, he lost the support of the board of directors and abruptly left the company. And who knows why that happened? They tell you a little bit, but they don't really give you all the details as to why he left abruptly. I think they've been a chronic underperformer for many years. Although they've had a good run of late, for a number of years, they were basically just going sideways. On the operations side, they're well off of their all-time highs as far as production goes. While the price of gold is at reaching record highs, they're actually trying to get out of the gold business and more into the copper business. And there's nothing wrong with diversification, but to sort of be leaving your roots as the gold price is at all-time record highs. The street was probably not that happy about it, so maybe they got pushed by the institutions that own the stock a lot. But that's the news from from um, from Barrick. On the same day, Newmont, who's the number one largest gold mining company, and number three is Barrick, and number two is my favorite gold major pick is Agnico Eagle. But on the same day, they announced that they are also having a change to the CEO position. Now, this is done in a more proper way. There's a transition period between the current CEO and the new CEO. I really like who they put in because she's a operations person, and part of the reason why I picked Newmont back here before they went through their Golden Cross was because I thought that it was a great plan for them to sell off their non-core mines and then focus on optimizing their tier one mines. And what the result of that was in their last quarterly report was that they announced, although they announced less gold production year over year, they had a record in free cash flow. And that's what you get when you optimize your mines like that. You sort of get rid of the non-core tier one assets, mines, and then you focus in on optimizing your current mines. And that's the result of it is when the price of gold is at record highs, you see record highs in free cash flow. And so they put in an operations person, which I really like. It's a rock, I call them rock people. They put a rock person in charge of running the company. So I think that shows a serious commitment to optimizing their operations. And I think only good things will come of that. And they're doing it in a normal secession plan where the Tom Palmer is leaving, the new person is coming in, and he'll stay in the position until I think it's March. So they got a number of months where they can transition in a good fashion, and that's the news from them. They were down 71 cents today, or 0.83% to $84.54. They're up quite dramatically from when I first picked them. down here at about $45 a share before they went through the Golden Cross. They've been, since then, they've spent almost the entire time above the 50-day moving average. And I think it's onwards and upwards from here with gold doing so well and this new operations person taking the helm. I think that this is a great development. I guess I should, since I talked about the gold, gold's been going through a really important breakout of late. It's broken. It was trading on the 50-day or around the 50-day moving average, going sideways for a number of months. I had talked about how it was tightening up and I was expecting a breakout. We've got that important breakout. Now it's making new record highs. I think that both gold and silver are sniffing out that stagflation is on the horizon, troublesome stagflation, and gold and silver do very well in stagflation. And as you can see, both of them have broken out quite dramatically above their 50-day moving average. And the gold stocks are also breaking out nicely. So not only are the gold and silver sniffing out stagflation, but the gold and silver stocks are as well. And so you've got kind of the three pillars there. Now, the backdrop of what's moved gold from the lower left of the chart to the upper right over the last year and a bit is these what I call the death spiral of debt that's being made worse by the cost of servicing the debt. And my big argument is that the fiat currency and debt system, not just in the United States, but globally, is broken. And the only way to fix it is with gold and moving towards increasing the central banks, increasing the amount of gold that they hold in their currency reserves, which is what they've been doing and what fueled this move. But now you've got stagflation about to put gold and silver into overdrive. So it's a great time to be looking at gold and silver stocks. And I cover a lot of them in my past shows that you can find on my Substack at rocksandstocks.substack.com, as well as on my YouTube. Just do a search for Rocks and Stocks News on YouTube, and you'll find all my past reports and help you to do your homework. And that's what I'm all about, folks. I think that, I always state you should do your homework and speak with your financial advisors with a real emphasis on the homework. I believe because of my 32 years of experience in the mining business, that the most successful investors have been the most well informed. And that's not just in the mining space, it's in every sector. The greatest investors are the most well informed. The reason that they're great is because they're so well informed, they don't get shaken out of positions due to short-term fluctuations in stock prices. They know what they own, and you should as well. So do that homework. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.